Hello, everyone. I'm Anna. As always, take what resonates, softly release the rest, and don't forget to like and subscribe so you can stay connected with future messages. Now, let's see what love is bringing toward you. So, I need to address this energy carefully. The title sounds alarm like, I know. But let's unpack what caution actually means in this context. Think about the difference between fear and discernment. Fear screams, discernment whispers. Fear makes you reactive, discernment makes you thoughtful. This reflection isn't about creating panic around someone in your life. It's about exploring what it means to protect your peace, to recognize patterns that don't serve you, to trust your gut when something feels off. Let's explore this territory together. Picture the experience of ignoring red flags, not because you don't see them, but because you don't want to see them. Because acknowledging them means making hard choices, means admitting you might need to walk away from someone you care about. You might recognize this pattern in yourself. The mental gymnastics you do to explain away behavior that bothers you. They're just going through something. They didn't mean it that way. It's not that bad. I'm probably overreacting. These phrases become mantras, ways of convincing yourself to stay in situations your body's already trying to leave. Um, Imagine your intuition as a quiet voice and your rationalizations as loud ones drowning it out. Some folks spend years doing this, talking themselves out of their own knowing, giving chance after chance to people who aren't actually changing, waiting for potential to become reality. This reflection explores what it means to stop waiting, to stop hoping someone becomes who you need them to be, to accept who they're showing you they are right now. Hold on. Let me sit with this. Think about someone in your life who consistently makes you feel small, not through obvious cruelty necessarily, but through subtle diminishment, through jokes that sting, through dismissiveness disguised as teasing, through making you question your own perception of events. You might have normalized this dynamic, told yourself that's just how they are, as if their personality exempts them from treating you with respect. Can feel like you're being too sensitive if you object, like you're making problems where none exist. But this reflection asks, whose voice is telling you that? Your authentic inner voice or the voice you've internalized from them? People who regularly violate your boundaries often convince you that having boundaries is the problem, that your needs are unreasonable, that you're too much or not enough. Picture a relationship where you're constantly adjusting yourself, making yourself smaller, quieter, less demanding, while the other person remains unchanged. That's not compromise, that's erosion, slow wearing down of your sense of self. Some folks don't realize how much they've shrunk until they get distance, until they step back and see the shape they've contorted into. Let me shift angles here. This reflection invites exploration of different types of harmful patterns, not just obvious abuse, that's clear cut, but the subtler stuff that's harder to name. The inconsistency that keeps you off balance, available one day, ghost the next, attentive, then dismissive, never stable enough for you to relax into. You might be dealing with someone who keeps you in perpetual audition mode, always trying to earn their consistency, always wondering what you did wrong when they withdraw, always working to maintain their interest while they coast on yours. That dynamic exhausts people, leaves them feeling drained, anxious, not enough, can destroy your sense of security over time. Or maybe you're dealing with someone who talks a beautiful game, says all the right things, makes compelling promises, but their actions never match their words. And when you point out the discrepancy, they make you feel guilty for noticing. Picture someone who apologizes eloquently and repeats the behavior anyway, who swears they'll change and demonstrates no actual change, who tells you what you want to hear to keep you engaged while doing what they want regardless. Some people are masterful at this, at using words to create illusions, at performing remorse without embodying transformation. You might have fallen for it multiple times, each time thinking, okay, this time they really get it. Each time being disappointed again. Hold on. This reflection doesn't claim to know your specific situation, doesn't tell you definitively to cut someone off. That decision belongs entirely to you. What this reflection does is invite examination, honest assessment of patterns you might be minimizing. Think about how you feel after spending time with this person, not the surface feeling, the deeper one. Do you feel energized or depleted, seen or invisible, safe or on edge? Your body keeps score even when your mind makes excuses. You might notice tension in your shoulders before seeing them, tightness in your chest during conversations, relief when they cancel plans. These physical responses are information. Your nervous system communicating what your thoughts won't acknowledge. Can be easier to trust logic than embodied knowing. But your body doesn't lie to protect feelings. It tells the truth you're avoiding. Imagine actually listening to those signals, actually honoring what they're revealing. What would shift if you did? Let me explore the concept of protection without fear-mongering. Protecting yourself doesn't mean assuming everyone's dangerous. Doesn't mean building walls so high nobody gets in. It means having standards, having boundaries, having non-negotiables, knowing what you won't tolerate and actually enforcing that. Some folks confuse openness with doormat behavior. Think being loving means accepting everything. But real love includes self-love. And self-love says, I won't participate in my own diminishment. I won't stay where I'm consistently disrespected. I won't keep hoping you'll value me when you keep showing me you don't. That's not harsh. That's healthy. You might worry that setting firm boundaries makes you unforgiving, cold, mean, but this reflection offers another frame that boundaries are how you love people from a sustainable distance, how you honor both their autonomy and your well-being. You can wish someone well and still bar them from your intimate circle, can hold compassion for their struggles while refusing to be collateral damage. Hold on. Stay with me. Think about the difference between temporary rough patches and consistent patterns. Everyone has bad days, bad weeks even. Life gets hard. People get stressed. Communication breaks down temporarily. That's normal. That's workable. This reflection addresses something else. Patterns that persist regardless of circumstances. Behavior that continues despite conversations, boundaries, requests for change. You might have had the same conversation with this person 5 times, 10 times, 20 times. Each time they seem to understand. Each time nothing fundamentally shifts. That's not miscommunication. That's unwillingness. They understand perfectly. They're just not interested in changing. Picture yourself explaining the same boundary repeatedly, feeling crazy for having to repeat yourself, wondering if you're not being clear enough. You're being clear, they're being resistant. Big difference. Some people hear you perfectly and choose not to honor what you're saying. That choice tells you everything you need to know. Let me address the fear aspect directly. This reflection doesn't suggest being afraid of someone unless there's genuine safety concern, in which case seek appropriate help. But for most situations, it's about being cautious with your energy, your time, your emotional investment, your vulnerability, being selective about who gets access to your inner world. You might have been too generous with that access, letting people in before they've demonstrated trustworthiness, sharing deeply with people who haven't earned that level of intimacy, hoping your openness will inspire their reciprocation. But vulnerability isn't currency that buys connection. Some people take what you offer and give nothing back. Use your openness against you. Store information to weaponize later. That's not paranoia. That's pattern recognition. If someone's shown you they can't be trusted with your tenderness, believe them. Stop handing them ammunition hoping they won't fire. This reflection invites discernment about who deserves your soft parts, who's demonstrated care, who's proven safe, who shows up consistently, respectfully, reciprocally, and everyone else gets your polite exterior, your boundaries, your distance, not from meanness, from self-preservation. Hold on. Let me explore what cutting contact actually means. Because the title says never talk to him again. That's dramatic language for something that's actually quite simple. Choosing not to engage with someone who doesn't serve your growth. Doesn't require drama, doesn't require explanations, can be a quiet fade, a gentle withdrawal, becoming less available, less responsive, less invested, until eventually the connection naturally dissolves. You don't owe anyone a manifesto about why you're creating space, especially if explaining would just create more exhausting conversation. Some people will notice your withdrawal and respect it. Others will push back, demand explanations, try to guilt you into re-engaging. That pushback itself reveals who they are. Someone who respects you accepts your boundaries even when inconvenient for them. Someone who doesn't will make your boundary about their feelings, will center themselves in your act of self-care. Watch how people respond to your no. It shows you everything. This reflection acknowledges that walking away is hard, especially from someone you have history with, someone you've invested time, energy, hope into. Feels like admitting defeat, like giving up. But this reflection offers a reframe that leaving what doesn't serve you isn't giving up. It's choosing yourself. It's growing up. You might grieve the potential you saw, the relationship you thought this could become. That grief is valid. Feel it fully and still make the choice that protects your peace. You can mourn what could have been while accepting what is. Both truths can coexist. Let me land this carefully. This reflection doesn't know your specific person or situation, doesn't claim special insight into their character or intentions. What it does is invite you to trust yourself, to honor your own knowing about who feels safe and who doesn't, to believe your own experience even when others invalidate it. If everything in you is saying this person isn't good for me, listen. If your body tenses around them, notice. If you feel relief when they're not around, pay attention. Those signals matter more than any external opinion, more than how charming they are to others, more than their explanations and justifications. You know what you know. Deep down beneath the hoping and explaining, This reflection simply encourages you to trust that knowing, to act on it even when it's uncomfortable, to protect yourself even when it disappoints others. Your safety, emotional, mental, physical, is not negotiable, not for anyone, not for any reason. Take a breath. Whatever you choose regarding this person or situation, choose consciously, not from fear, not from obligation, from clear-eyed assessment of what serves your highest good. If that means distance, create it without apology. If that means total severance, honor that choice. If that means one more conversation with firmer boundaries, try that. You're the expert on your own life. Trust yourself to know what you need and give yourself permission to claim it. Take what resonates from this reflection, release what doesn't apply, and above all, trust your own discernment about who belongs in your inner circle and who doesn't.